Oh, hello there. Welcome. Remember I said I wanted to do a couple of fun type episodes coming up? Well, this is, in theory, one of those. This is the best of the best of the best. The picks that actually ended up being the winners in each round of your fantasy draft. As you may recall, we did episodes like this before the season, trying to predict, if you could, who you should take at different juncture points in each round of the fantasy draft. Like if you had an early pick, who would you take at the beginning of the first, end of the second, beginning of the third, and so on. And now looking back, we're going to say who those guys actually were. So I'm Dan Vespers. This is Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. Let's begin the best picks in each round review. We're at the end of the line here, folks. We're within striking distance of the last day of the regular season. Anything that happens from now on, we can mostly discard because head-to-head leagues are mostly over. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to look at the Yahoo pre-ranks from the beginning of the season, the very last one that came out. I think it was a day or two before the season started. And we are going to compare and contrast. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Dan Vespers. Please hit that subscribe button to let me know that you want me to keep doing more of these types of sort of fun shows. So again, we'll see if it actually turns out to be. But let's begin, and you guys can see how it goes. Round one, and initially I thought I might just pick a name from each round, but I think it's more fun and more informative, frankly, for us to look at all of them. So the winners from round one: Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Halliburton, and Jason Tatum. Those are the ones that sort of ran the board on it. Because first of all, Shai was number 2 per game, despite a pregame rank of 4. It's hard to beat your pre-rank when you're pre-ranked 4. He is number 1 by totals right now, and frankly, running away with it since Nikola Jokic turned an ankle. So yeah, I would say that's a pretty easy win. Tyrese Halliburton, who you guys might remember, got off to a terrible start this year. He was pre-ranked 6th. He was down near 60. I saw a lot of people on Twitter writing him off as bad at basketball. He's worked his way all the way back to number 6 by per game and number 4 by totals. If you can get to your mark as a mid-first rounder and beat it by totals, that's a win. Because again, there's really no place for him to go from 6. The guys in front of him, he's tied with Karl Anthony Towns right now. They're basically a deadlock. They're a dead heat for number 5. You'd have to pass Anthony Davis to get to number 4, which again, just from stat set alone, that's not happening. And then you got a top 3 of Jokic, Shai, and Victor. That ain't happening either. So this is as good as it's going to get for Halliburton, and he done did it. Missed some games for folks in the playoffs. That's a pain in the butt. But again, we're looking at in aggregate. I can't ding a guy just because the only games he missed was basically during your fantasy finals. That's just terrible luck. Jason Tatum is the other name on the board. He is a little bit more of a, maybe I should have given him, and folks that are watching on YouTube, you can see I have this honorable mention to some durability warriors. And Jason Tatum kind of is that. He's number 6 by totals. He's number 11 per game, which is just behind his pre-rank of number 8. But again, if you're drafted in the first round and you have a first round per game rank and you have a better than your ADP totals rank, I'm going to give you the full you done did it nod. So Tatum gets it as well. The durability warriors drafted late in the first round: James Harden and Anthony Edwards. Harden and Edwards not really all that close to their ADP per game. Ant is at 21, Harden is at 24, but by totals, Edwards is at number 7 and Harden is at number 9. They played 70 and 68 games respectively. Also, and this is more for Harden than it is for Edwards, if you drafted Harden early, you were likely building a punt field goal or a punt turnover team. Again, not that you can necessarily just put that into your computation here for who actually was the best in the first round. But if you took James Harden in the first round of a head-to-head league, certainly more so than Roto, because with Roto, you don't usually want to lean into a punt that hard. If you took Harden in the first round of a head-to-head league and you were like, it's fine, I'm going to punt field goal percent, by totals, he's number 3. And if you took him in the first round and you were like, I'm going to punt turnovers, by totals there, I lost him. Where the hell did he go? He's number 3 also. And if you're punting both, he's still number 3 because Jokic and Shai nobody's passing those guys. But the point there is, if you took Harden at the end of the first round, you kind of knew what you were getting into. And by that account, he ended up as a winner. Guys, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on March Madness. Even if your bracket went bust, BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with a free Sweet 16 bracket with $50,000 in prizes attached to it and live betting on every remaining tournament game. They've got the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to MLB, NHL, MMA. Yeah, I mean, even NBA right now. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. So, from every Cinderella story to hat trick and back again, BetOnline covers you with odds, stats, and more on every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, our proudest partner here at Old Man Squad. The game starts here. Round 2. Whoops, scrolled too far. 3 names were big successes in round 2. Karl-Anthony Towns, who was number 16 preseason rank, Kevin Durant at 21, and Damian Lillard at 24. Those are the guys that are kind of running away with it. Cat is number 5 per game. Dame is number 7 per game. And KD is number 10. All 3 of those guys were first rounders on the per game side. And Cat, who's been more durable than he has in recent seasons. He's played in 63 games so far this year. He is, believe it or not, number 3 by totals on the season. Again, basically tied with Tyrese Halliburton, but whatever, it counts all the same. Kevin Durant has missed a few extra games. He's number 13 by totals. Damian Lillard also missing a few extra games. He's number 14 by totals. So all of those guys were winners both on the per game side and on the total side. Getting Cat back into his spot as a center for a team. Didn't need a big usage change year over year, just needed to be a center and not a power forward. So the steals and the blocks came back. The rebounds went way, way up, and that was sort of the big thing with him. The shot selection gets easier, and he's going to be a really nice percentages guy pretty much all the time. It was good to see Dame bounce back. This is basically what the upside was with Lillard last year, saying, okay, well, he fell into the late second round because he shot 42%. That's the floor. If he does any better than that from the field, he climbs the board. And he got back up to 45% this year, which again, you basically turn him from a punt field goal guy into I can deal with this field goal guy. And he jumped up the board quite a bit. Otherwise, his stuff didn't change all that much. And then KD was the other one who just continues to rumble along at KD's speed. And you hope that he doesn't miss more than about 13, 14 games. And that's kind of what he's on pace for right now. And that would end up being a nice win for him as well. We also had a durability award in the second round that goes to Devin Booker, who finished basically right on his number. He's number 22 per game with a final Yahoo pre-rank of 19. But he's been very durable this year after being banged up a bit last season, played in 66 games so far. And that gets him to number 15 overall. Wow, by the way, I would argue that Booker could be better. He's at 45.5% from the field. That's a number we've seen click up into the 47, 48, 49 every once in a while. So this isn't even really quite his ceiling, but he's been fine, which is kind of what we called him. Late second round pick. I was like, yeah, Booker, this is a pretty safe spot. Let's go to round 3. We're going to hustle along as best we can. Round 3 was, as it turns out, unfortunately, a little bit of a graveyard in the end. And I don't think we thought that was true. We all thought that round 3 was going to have a whole bunch of second rounders in it. But round 3, Chet Holmgren was hurt most of the year. LeBron's been, he beat his mark per game. So I guess we could have put him there as like a small per game winner. He's like around number 20 per game. De'Aaron Fox, no. Lauri Markkanen was terrible. Alperen Sengun was exactly what we said he would be, which is a lot of counting stats, but some other stuff that is a bit hit or miss. Like, again, you kind of knew what you were getting into, but he's actually number 90 per game right now. A lot of that is the free throw shooting, but not all of it, because he's still not hitting threes. You're getting points, pretty good points, a lot of rebounds, good assists from a center. Defensive stats are fine, but like, I think we all, I don't say we all, I faded Sengun at that price. If you weren't punting free throws, he sort of didn't make sense there. If you were, he's fine, but again, he wasn't a massive win. Cade was kind of the only winner in the third round, and even Cade required a little bit of sort of not truth stretching, but like stretching of what it means to be a winner. He's had a great season. Make no mistake. I want to take anything away from Cade. He's pretty much right on his number on the per game side. and he's been pretty healthy up until like a couple days ago. So by totals, he is a winner. Uh, 21 is his totals rank. 30 was his final pre-rank, and he's right around 30 in per game marker. The the reason I think we had to put Cade on this list is that he is the turnover mess of the century at 4.5 of them. So again, if you're playing 8 cat, he's a huge win. If you're punting turnovers, he's a huge win. It's only if you're going straight 9 cat that you kind of have to stretch it a little bit. But I think it's a pretty fair. I don't think any of you guys are going to argue with me in calling Cade Cunningham a win in this third round. We would have had a win on Jalen Williams and Jalen Johnson in this third round. But Jalen Williams fell off after a really hot start to the year. Well, I guess he's number 23 per game. Where's Jalen totals? Oh, yeah, I mean, he's sort of in there. He's a baby size win in the third round. You know what? We're going to add that while we talk about it. What the hell was his pre-rank? Hold on, we can do this on the fly. Jalen Williams' pre-rank was 32. Okay, we got this. Jalen Williams. Ta-da! Now he's on the list. So Jalen Williams is a small win in the third round. Jalen Johnson would have been a huge win in the third round if he didn't get hurt. He was number 19 per game and just rolling. And then, the wheels came off. Oh, well. Commercial break. And then round 4. Round 4 had 2 names, and they are both massive winners. And those names are Evan Mobley and Derek White. Mobley being the larger of the two, but on a per game side, and by totals, they come out pretty damn close to one another. Derek White's played in 68 games, so he wins the totals battle just by a little bit, but another really good season for White. 16.5 points, 4.5 boards, 4.5 assists, a steal, a block, 3.5 threes. He's doing it all. And the Evan Mobley one, which was, I think, relatively easy to see because if you look at last year, he took an offensive leap forward, but was hurt a bunch. And so the minutes were down. This year, the assumption was that the minutes would come back a little bit. They haven't had to because the Cavs have played in so many blowouts and they've been able to kind of keep it in check. But the offensive stuff stuck while the role got a little bit bigger, while the time on the court got a little bit longer or more productive per minute. They just run a more efficient offense. So Mobley's number 25 on a per game side. He's number 20 by totals. That's a big win. Derek White, as we mentioned, 30 per game and then up at 18 by totals, thanks to the durability. So that's been a really good year for a couple of picks in round 4. Round 5 was a busy one. I think there was some fear that round 5 would end up being a little bit of a mess, but it turned out to be fine. It was really the late round 4 into early round 5 that was kind of gunky. Late round 5 was pretty good. Jared Allen and Nikola Vucevic, a couple of centers drafted somewhat late in the 5th round, were both very, very good. Jared Allen this year finished in he's number 43 per game. So he beat his final pre-rank by 13 slots there. And he basically hasn't missed a game all year. He's been unbelievably healthy and is number 11 by totals. He hasn't blown anybody away, but he's shooting 70%. He's one of the biggest field goal percent impact guys in the NBA. And he's shot the free throw relatively well, so as not to hurt you from that big man spot. 14 and 10 with a steal, a block, and 2 assists on just insane field goal percent. That's been enough for a very good year. Vooch was shooting out of his mind for most of the season. He's come back to earth a little bit in the later part of the year, but he did so much work early that even a slow ending to the season isn't enough to slow him down. He's still at 53% field goal for the year. That's wild. 19 points, 2 threes, 10 boards, 3.5 assists, 1.5 combined steals and blocks. He's a positive at the free throw line, especially for a big man, and the turnovers have been kept in check. Vooch is number 16 by totals, one of the biggest winners on the board this year. A couple of durability awards in this 5th round go to Pascal Siakam and DeMar DeRozan. And what makes those guys your durability winners? Well, neither one of them really blew the per game numbers out of the water. Pascal Siakam was basically right on his number at number 53. Slight punt free throw guy, but not really. I mean, he basically just was who he was. DeMar DeRozan also very close to his number. He was number 58 on the per game side, but by totals, they were both very, very durable. Siakam's played in 70 games. That makes him number 27 by totals on the year. DeMar's played in 66. That puts him up at number 39. We're kind of right at that borderline now where like you want durable guys in the top 60, 70. Once you get beyond that, durability becomes a little bit overblown. Obviously, you want your guys in there because with head to head, you take a 0 and that sucks. But like, a guy ranked near 100 that plays in every ball game is slightly helpful. But a guy playing in like 80% of his games who's ranked near 50 is better. Just that's the way it is. So you kind of have to start and stop where you care about durability, and we're getting pretty close to it. Round 6, two colossal winners in this one and one smaller size winner. The big winners in round 6 were the guards, Darius Garland and Jamal Murray. Garland had a pre-rank of 63. Jamal Murray had a pre-rank of 65. Get this. Jamal Murray, at the time of recording this podcast, is number 14 per game. 22 points, 4 boards, 6 assists, 2.5 threes, 1.5 steals, half a block, and 48-89 splits. He has been a revelation. And this was after kind of a slow start to the year. He's played in most games. They gave him a few back-to-backs off early in the season. He's played in now 64 games. So Jamal Murray's number 10. He's been a first-round value this year. And he was falling leading up to draft day. Garland's been very good also. I don't want to take anything away from him. It's just that Jamal Murray's been even better. Darius is number 37, 21, 3, and 6.5. Interestingly, the stats on these two guys is remarkably close. Jamal Murray has an extra point. Garland has an extra half a 3-ball. Jamal Murray has an extra rebound. Jamal Murray has an extra 0.3 blocks and 0.2 steals, and the percentages are almost exactly the same. And Jamal Murray has slightly better turnovers. So, like, almost interchangeable pieces, but Jamal a little better in most of them. Regardless, Garland by totals, number 30. And then I wanted to kind of, and again, he's not blowing everybody out of the water here, but he's ending the season so strong. And if we did another show like this 2 weeks from now, he'd probably be even farther up the board. And that's Josh Giddey, who is getting the chance in Chicago that I think if you drafted him, you were hoping he was going to get. It kind of took until Zach LaVine got punted for Giddey to really cut it loose. He's only a 14, 8, and 7 on the year, but he's been better than that lately. And he's been durable enough where per game is 59, totals is 52. That is well ahead of his mark. That's, a round ahead on per game, a round and a half by totals, and climbing as we approach the end of the season. So Josh Giddey makes the list in round 6 as well. Round 7 was a very busy one, and it should be because you're getting into that part of the board where you're going to get big winners and big losers. And round 7 had a few of each. The winners in round 7 were mostly big men, but not all. Walker Kessler, despite all the rest days at number 73, he's been a win. Ivica Zubac at number 75 has been a ridiculous winner. And OG Anunoby, he was hurt once, but healthier than usual, has been a win at 79. We also have a games cap award for this round and a durability award for this round. But let's talk about the 3 guys that made it on both. Walker Kessler's number 47 per game, 11 points, 12 boards, 2.5 blocks, and half a steal. So getting him to 3 defensive stats a game. Sucks at the free throw line, but you knew that when you were getting into it. But he's doing the stuff that we wanted him to do, which is playing minutes when he's on the court. He's averaged 30 minutes a game. 2.5 blocks was basically what you were hunting for with him. Rebounds, blocks, field goal percent. He is hyper elite in all 3 of those categories, and that's what you wanted. The only thing you didn't want was all the days off, but luckily, he's played in just enough games where by totals, he's number 59, so he's been a win there as well. Zubac, however, if you were going to debate between the two, wins this one. He continues to be a pillar of durability. He's played in 69 of the Clippers games so far this year, and he's averaged 16.5 points, 12.5 rebounds, 0.7 steals, 1.2 blocks, a pretty high volume, 62% from the field. And he's been bad at the free throw line, which is unfortunate because I think we were hoping he'd be in the high 60s, maybe even up around 70. But he's been at 64. Still, that's been a big improvement. Early in the year, he was in the low 50s, and he's been trending up. And that's big reason why he's been climbing the ranks. Remember, for a long time, Zubats was ranked like 80th, and you were like, how? This guy's averaging like 18 and 12. Well, it's because he was taking 3.5 free throws a game and making, 52% of them. When you started to peel that back from hard punt to soft punt, Zubats has rocketed up to number 38 per game. Get ready for this one. It's going to blow your mind. 17th by totals. Second rounder, Ivica Zubats by totals this year. He's been one of the best on the board. OG Anunoby at number 79 is notable because he's been a little better than that. Number 49 on the per game side. He got off to a really good start. So I think like the taste in everyone's mouth right now is a little bit sort of meh. But overall, he's still been a good year. Number 36 by totals. He's getting you the defensive stats you wanted. He's also actually kind of scoring a little bit, 17 points a game, 5 boards. If there was worry about whether it was going to be Anunoby or Mikal Bridges that suffered offensively with the addition of Cat and just having more options on that team, it's really been more about Bridges taking the hit. OG's been good. I'll admit, I thought this was too high to take him at 79. I wanted him a lot when he was going at like 95 or 100, and then he just kept pushing higher and higher. I was like, I'm a little worried about injury, and I passed. Shouldn't have passed on that one. Trey Murphy is your Games Cap Award winner for this one. Started the year hurt, ending the year hurt. In between, he played 53 brilliant games. It's a damn shame. He's number 58, by the way, by totals right now. I would assume that by the end of the year, he probably falls behind where he was drafted at 82. But man, for the 3.5 months you had him, what a beast. What an absolute beast. And then I will give one durability award here in round 7. That will go to Michael Porter Jr., whose per game rank was almost exactly where he was drafted. 77 was the per game rank. He was drafted at 80, but he's been healthy again. Played in 70 games so far this year. So by totals, he's number 44. But again, he's right on the borderline of when you care a lot about durability. It's still a good thing here, but we're getting close to the point where it kind of doesn't matter anymore. And we're going to do the last 16. We're going to do the last 16 names when we come back. I do these commercial breaks, and I can choose where they go on the iTunes and Spotify listens, but in YouTube, I just have to hope that they pop it in there because I clicked the button to do it automatically. I could go back and insert them manually, but who's got time for that nonsense? All right, here's round 8 extended. This is pick 85 through 100, so I would just do the first 4 picks of round 9 and make it a nice round number because I'd like to do another one of these types of shows for the after 100 guys, the guys that we were looking at. We did a Flyers show. When did we start that one? I think the Flyers show was what rank did we start? After 120. All right, well, I screwed that up. Probably should have gone to 120 on this show, but I didn't. So we're gonna do the Reaches and Flyers recap episode at some point along the way. And hey, hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying this. I'm hoping this is kind of a fun show to look back at. Maybe not. It's fun for me to make, actually. I'm enjoying myself more than just doing another streaming episode. And isn't it really all about what Dan wants? No? Oh, well. Round 8 and beyond. This is where we get into the really interesting stuff. Kobe White, who was not on this board. I mean, if we did this show a couple weeks ago, he wasn't on it, but White is on a ridiculous heater right now. He's all the way up to number 72 on a per game ranking. He's been relatively durable, not like over the moon durable, but good enough that he's number 56 by total. So that makes him a pretty clear winner here, especially with him stepping on the gas at the end of the season. Despite the rest days, Jakob Poeltl is an 8th round winner. He's played in only 54 games, but he's number 42 per game, 14.5 points, 10 rebounds, 1.2 steals, and 1.2 blocks, 3 assists almost, and 63% from the field. So he's been very good in a lot of stuff. Yeah, the missed games are a real pain in the butt. You kind of had to know that going into it because remember, he was the guy that came out and before the season was like, yeah, we know we're not going to be trying to win every ball game this year. Whoopsies. Shouldn't have said that. But he's still number 63 by totals, and he's still playing in some of their ball games. So we're not at full shutdown yet. That's good. Tyler Hero is, I mean, this is a pretty easy one. He's been great all season long. Jimmy Butler got traded, so nothing ever is going to go anywhere. The field goal percent has come back down to earth a little bit, but again, he shot so well for so long that it doesn't matter. He's still number 35, even after he was inside the top 20 for a while. Yes, he has been worse as the season's gone on, but who cares? Like, you put in this much and you're that good for that long. After that, it doesn't really matter. He's also been durable. He's number 25 by totals. Hard to argue with that. Brooke Lopez, the ageless one. I don't know how he keeps doing it. But remember there was that like 3-day stretch where Yahoo did a new board and they pushed him all the way down to like number 96. And I was like, yes, it's Brolo time. Well, then they moved him back up. And on the last day before the season started, they pushed him back down to 96 again. And if that had been the case when I did most of my drafts, I would have drafted a lot of Brooke Lopez. As it turns out, he was mostly going in the 70s when I was doing drafts, so I didn't get him anywhere. Number 23 by totals. Another very durable year for Brolo. I think he's in the I lost him. Where the hell did you go, Brooke? 54 on a per game basis. Good percentages, great blocks, even has 5 rebounds this year. Now in Technicolor. I got to give a Games Cap award to Mark Williams. You knew you were getting an injured guy if you drafted him because there was a lot of warning on this one. So you likely didn't take him in head to head, nor should you have. But if you took him in Games Cap Roto and you were like, I don't know when this guy's coming back, but when he does, I'm going to cash in. You have. He's been number 32 per game, which is kind of what we were hunting for out of him. If he comes into next season healthy, he could end up being kind of a weird little like mini sleeper type. I don't know how many people are even paying attention to the fact that he's at 15-10 with 2.5 assists and 2 defensive stats on very good both percentages. He's like the perfect roto center. Doesn't shoot the 3 ball, but who cares? And I don't know if anybody's paying attention to him because he sits out every back-to-back on a tanking team and he missed the first 2 months of the year. Guess we'll find out next August, won't we? And then the last couple of names here, the few that wedged in between the end of the 8th round and the 100 mark are Chris Paul. Do you guys realize how healthy Chris freaking Paul has been this year? Yeah, he's only number 79 per game, so it's not like he's running away with a big-time rank winner here. He has fallen off a little bit as the team has dialed his minutes down and stopped caring as much, but he's at 9 points, 8 assists, 1.3 steals. The free throw number came back, even if the field goal percent did not, and he's played again in 70 ball games. That's crazy. He's number 49 by totals. And if you're punting points, ooh, baby, that's a good place to be. And finally, Austin Reeves, well, I'm guessing most of you would rather have if you were drafting someone in that range over Chris Paul. Austin Reeves has gone wild since D'Angelo Russell got traded. He's number 46 per game on the year. He's also a dude who likes to play in every damn game when he can. So not super durable, but durable enough. Number 40 by totals. He was one of those guys that we were targeting this year as well and didn't get off to the world's hottest start, but really kicked it into high gear. And that's been a fun ride since then. I know that the quality of the video has been kind of dipping in and out as we've gone. I've tried resetting the internet a few times. I've tried messing with the various technical stuff. This just sort of is what it is. Thanks for sticking with us on that front. Again, subscribe if you enjoyed this one. We're going to go back and we're going to do more videos like this with the worst picks in each round. We're going to do some videos that have the best late picks. We're going to have one where maybe we do a recap on. I'd like to go back and do a recap on all the stuff that I said, like, here's my flyers, here are my late picks, here are my early picks, because we should do it. And of course, we'll go back and look at the old man squad list, which was sort of like the Dan's favorites all the way across the board. Where the hell did that? Is that the Buckets show? When did we do that one? I got to go back and look at all the shows we did during draft season. Anyway, hit that subscribe button. We got more stuff coming up. Thank you guys for listening and watching and whatever. As always, thank you for liking. Thank you for rating. You guys are the best. We'll be back tomorrow with a twofer. A Tuesday recap show. We'll also do a Wednesday, Thursday streamer edition. Again, we're going to do those every other day right now, since many of you are done with the playoffs, but not all of you. And then every other day, that allows us to do a fun show like this one, where maybe we'll get a guest, maybe we'll do a recap show, and we go all off season long, baby. Just like Lionel Richie. Fantasy basketball all night long. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you soon tomorrow, I hope.